What's going on, guys? We got some more sweet mohawk action coming up. Alright, so I got the mohawk halves cut out. I left a lot of material on this flange here because I knew that, you know, trying to cut a really super clean line exactly where I wanted on that bandsaw was going to be a little tough to do, just because it's, you know, like it's half a bowl basically, and I'm trying to force it through a small area in that bandsaw opening. So I thought I'd get rid of as much material as possible, and kind of test fit things and make sure things were going to work before I committed to too much. So that being said, I have to take this flange down a bit more. That's going to do a couple things. I think obviously it's going to put it into the correct width that I want, but it's also, I think, going to make it a little bit more flexible in this way because it's fairly rigid. Another thing I got to deal with is this piece right here. That little end right there, I think, is going to get cut off. I think I found the inspiration for what I want to do with this actually on the helmet. So as you can see here, there's a flange, and so I'm going to do something similar to that. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to lop it off here and then kind of do a thing like that, you know. So basically, like, kind of like all of that is going to be gone. Actually, more like all of that. So, and I'll probably keep the flange a little bit thinner down here towards the bottom. Still wide enough for a screw, but not as thick as it is currently. And this flange is going to be the similar in width, actually, to the flange that's on the helmet here. So, yeah, we're getting our inspiration from the actual helmet. Yeah, and then the other thing I'm going to do is I got to Bondo these holes that I filled from the back. I need to Bondo the front and get those curing and sanded up. Actually, I'm probably going to do that. We're going to do that now because this has got to cure, and I don't need this helmet while I'm cutting that mohawk halves. And this stuff stinks. If you ever work on Bondo, try to do it outside because this made the whole house smell like a nail salon that has bad ventilation. Like it reeked throughout the whole house. I don't know how it got everywhere, but it's amazing. So let me pop this tape off and slap some Bondo on it and then go chuck it outside for the day. Alright, I took that helmet, I set it outside so it can cure for a few hours and the stink can be outside instead of inside. I need to remark the line that I want. The line I put on here was just a real quick one. It was meant to be a lot wider than the original, or not the original, the line I actually want. So I need to measure out the size that I do want and put that onto here. There's going to be two things. It's going to make the correct width, but it's also going to get rid of all the waviness. Like, I don't know if you can see how wavy that line is. So, yeah, I want to get the edges like finished and what they are actually going to be, because then I have to start putting on the center strips that are going to be the actual middle of the mohawk. There's two of them. One goes on the inside and one goes on the outside, and I've got to have those. I need to have it done because cutting after the fact, after I've glued those on, is going to be a lot harder. So yeah, we got to get it perfect, or as close to perfect as we can. All right, let's get to marking. All right, one thing I can do while I'm waiting for that little guide to cure up, and I have some kicker, super glue kicker on the way. I've ordered it. I'm waiting for it to come in. I can cut the end off of this because we're not going to use that. So I'm just going to kind of freehand kind of cut that off, because I'm just going to lop off as much as I can. Not as much as I can, but you know, the bulk of it, and then I'm going to go back and clean it up. So I'll do that, and then I'll run my guides over and then draw my finished line later. All right, not bad, not bad. Cut off a big chunk of the material there. One of the reasons I don't think I've talked about yet is why I wanted to lop that off is the making it line up with that hole on the bottom of the helmet, with that bump that, let me drop it, the bump that was on there. It wasn't going to happen. It was just a little bit off. I don't know if the base helmet that the kit was made from was a different size or what, but it just, I couldn't quite get it to line up. Even if I did, the hole that I'd have to make to get rid of this would be way too big to be useful. I'd have to put like a huge washer on it, and it would just look bad. So, you know, I think that the using the ram's horn as inspiration for the line that we take for that flange there is the best option. And yeah, I think it's gonna look good. This is still just, you know, another rough cut. I wanted to leave a lot of material, that way I have a lot of bandwidth for drawing the line I do want later, because you never know. It's an evolving project, kind of making things up as I go. And now I think I can use my little guide to put the line down that I want. So I'm going to do that now and see what I think. Hopefully the glue's set. I forgot to press record. Anyways, it's a much better line. It's still all grody. I gotta clean it up, but it's much closer, much straighter. It still needs a little bit of correcting, but it's closer to what we want. So I'll record the next, half of Mohawk. I swear. I promise. Alright, I got them both cut. I can definitely tell the flange is much nicer looking. It looks a lot more professional. One thing that I will have to deal with is because of the angle I had to cut in the bandsaw, there's like a beveled edge, and I don't want a beveled sharp edge like that. I want it to be flat, so I'm gonna have to clean these edges up anyway because they're a little jagged from the bandsaw. So this is gonna be like a sandpaper job mostly, but I'm gonna be straightening and flattening those edges because they just need little touches. I don't know if you can see there's a little bump out here, so things like that I'll just take care of with some sandpaper, or if I'm really impatient, I got my little belt sander over there, I can just zip it off real quick. Alright, I ordered myself a box of magnets, really strong magnets to help with the clamping, but I think I'm going to use these to kind of fit all the, oh, they come with stickers. Ooh, interesting thought with that. I think what I'm going to do though is I think I'm going to use them to kind of tack the Mohawk together real quick, just to see it kind of together without having to glue it, and snap it onto the helmet real quick. Yeah, let's just play with it. Let's have fun. All right, that's pretty cool. I can't put it on the helmet because, well, these are in the way, these clamps. So, and the magnets are not quite strong enough to contend with the this back strip here, it wanting to be straight. I need to, I think, kind of curl it and then maybe heat it just a touch so it gives itself a natural curl, or at least more than it has. It does have a little bit, but not nearly what it's going to need. And that'd make it a lot easier when I glue it too, so. Alright, so one of the issues that I've been trying to think my way around is the visor, which I haven't even unwrapped yet. Ian is wanting to retain the original visors in there, so I cannot put this one in its space. And we don't actually have space for it here on the inside because that space on the original, or on the kit, was a vacancy left by that ram's horn being, vacuum formed over it. So it was just empty space. is this cavity right here. And so the visor would live in here and it'd push down in front of where the face would be. There was actually this dome piece. Essentially, this dome piece works as if it was that main barrier that's in here in the main shell, and the visor would sit on top of it and then slide down. So it'd be in the way. And this would be on the inside and you wouldn't see it because it'd have a liner on it. We can't use this because we don't have space for it. So I've been trying to think of how am I going to attach this visor. And one thing I was goofing off with the other day was just fitting this on here. I just sliding this into that space. And it kind of wants to sit up in there. So I thought, oh, that's interesting. But maybe I could detach it with a magnet, one of those magnets, really strong magnet, and fit it in there. Now I need to actually see if this is going to actually fit in the front of this, because it could have been this was made from a different size helmet than this guy. And then also the vacuum forming process would actually make it a little bit bigger than the original helmet. So a lot of little factors there. So actually, let me peel this off. I really don't want to peel it off. Let me peel it off for just a bit and see how it fits on here. And then we're going to put it back away because we don't want to get it scratched up and smudged up too much. Let's see what it looks like. Might be a little too big, it might be a little too wide. We might have to source a different set. Alright, I think this might be just a little bit too wide for what we want to do. Well, maybe that's not too bad. Okay. Carefully take it out. Alright, so this might be a touch too wide. I might have to see if I can track down a smaller one, something just a touch narrower. Because, yeah, like I said, it covers the entire area, but it sticks out just a little too wide, and we don't want that. So I'm going to go put this away. But I do think that the idea of using the magnets is pretty sound, because these are really strong. If I have to put one underneath that ram's horn piece, actually I'd probably put it on the slide and then put one on the inside of the helmet, and that would hold it in place, you know, above it. And it does come with these 3M double-sided like little stickers that are really strong. I hope they better be. Because these magnets, they're tough. There's a warning on there, don't let them snap together because they will shatter. Alright, so I need to move on for now. I'm going to sand these little freshly bondoed places on the helmet where I plug those holes, get them looking pretty, get it one step closer to paint. And then we got some other things to deal with. I might put the mohawk together after that. I'm still trying to decide. But I think it's getting to the point where I have to. Alright, so it's been a few days. I actually clamped this up so I can give it a little bend per Darth Hare's instruction videos. He said it's good to leave this for a couple days, that way it has a natural curve and you're not fighting it. At least not as much. Then I've been busy. Anyway, so I'm gonna start gluing now that this is supposed to be a little bit more curvy. Ooh. It's a little bit better than it was before. It was a little bit more like that, but now it's... Alright, now I just gotta wait. What's it say on here, I think? It says fixture time 10 minutes, 80% strength in 24 hours, 5 to 6 minutes of working time. I'm gonna let it sit for a few hours. I'll be back to do the other side, and then let it sit for a few more hours, and then we do the top. And let it sit for a few more hours. It's always a lot of hurry up and wait type things, you know? But it's getting there. Alright, it's been a couple hours, so I'm gonna see how it looks without clamps. Alright, here it is. I put a couple magnets. There's one there, one over there, and I taped the two halves together. And of course, the magnets are on the inside, and then these ends are clamped with speed clamps. So, I guess we'll let that sit. Alright, it has been a few hours, so let's see what we got. Ooh, ow. That hurt. Gotta deal with these magnets. Hold on. Well, that's really cool. There's some gaps here, but I feel like maybe a little pressure, maybe a little heat, I can work that down. We'll see what we can do there. And then the other area I was worried about was back here. I know I've got this this back piece has got to be put on still, or the top part of the mohawk, but it's not going to be enough to close up that gap, so I've got to figure out something for that. Just for funsies. Still gotta put that top piece on, but that's pretty sweet. I dig it. Alright, I'm gonna let this cure for a full 24 hours. The reason why I'm gonna do that and not put the top strip on is I've had some bad experiences with solvents and cements and stuff like that when it's chemically like breaking down and welding the parts together. If you trap the fumes or some solvent in there and it can't cure, it can sometimes just melt the plastic around it. And I don't want to get like weird wavy spots in here, so I'm gonna let this cure. It can get air through here, it can get air through these edges, and if I give it 24 hours, it'll be good enough. Because I literally like had this happen on a X-Wing model where it melted the entire like gun assembly where it attached to the wing, and I was so pissed off. I had to scratch build it. I was like, damn it, like, I didn't want to do this. So yeah, so this is gonna sit. I'll be back in just a blink of an eye for you guys, but it'll be the next day. I think it might be a couple days. All right, it's been a few days. I have been thinking about this, and specifically what I've been thinking about is the gap right here. That is a real problem. And I think I've solved it. It's gonna take a little bit of cutting, but I want to do this before I put on the top strip that finishes the top of the mohawk. Because if there's any sins that are up top, which there shouldn't be, I can hide them. Anyways, the solution basically is like this length right here is irrelevant. It's this length here, and the front has this little hook on the front that keeps it straight and lined up on the front. I don't even have it on that side. There we go. Yeah, so you can see, keeps it hooked there. But we got this gap here, and if we unhook this and we slide it back just a touch, we can push it down. It's hard to do like this. It's really hard to do. I can pretty much eliminate that gap, and we got screws that we're going to be using to fasten this down. So basically what I need to do is cut that lip off. That way this can slide back. And that part being slid back isn't going to matter because we got this front block here. And it's going to go on here and we're not going to see it. So that's the plan. We're going to do a little surgery. We're going to cut just the lip off so it's flat and we can slide it back just a hair. Alright, here's what we got. We got our mohawk. We can lay it flat, and if we butt it up against this edge here, we can see we can get it all the way down. And this is all perfect and nice. We can definitely flex anything that we need down here, all the way up. Now on the top here, there's a little bit of a gap here, but it mostly disappears when we put this on. Now I could put it on like this, or I could slide it out. And we do have another layer going on, so that might determine some of this as well. So I'm not worried about this gap showing because it's going to get covered, you know, with that top piece. But I could put it here, and on the front, you don't really see that. Or I can bump it out and put it down on the lip, and then you have a little gap from the side. So it's kind of like that. But like I said, we're going to put this top strip on first, and then we'll see what this looks like. I'm not too worried about this just yet. Alright, I'm pretty relieved. That was kind of stressing me out a little bit because that edge, it does kind of keep things aligned. It keeps things straight, and removing it kind of makes me worry a little bit. So the fact that I can still position it and I can get it to lock into the back part here correctly, and we only have like a slight gap that's probably going to be completely covered up and unnoticeable, I think that's our best solution. I talked to Ian about this a little bit. He was thinking about maybe putting something on the bottom edge to thicken it, and I was also thinking about heating it up with my heat gun and trying to warp it down. But no matter what I do in those regards, it's just not going to look right. It's going to be this unevenness. And so I think this gets rid of that unevenness, and then we can cover this up pretty well with the pieces that the kit came with. So, yeah. So I think I need to go ahead and stick the back on, or the back, I should say, the top. I need to rivet that on, get the rivet gun out, and because you got to start it with the rivet on the back here, and then you put the glue on, and then you rivet the front end. Now I'm worried about riveting the front end now that I've slid this a little bit, so I might try to push the rivet till forward even more than what was originally told, so, or in the instructions. Even though it's pretty far up, I may not be able to move it up, so we'll see. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and start drilling. All right, one more thing. How the mohawk is gonna get attached is with some screws and flush nuts. We actually found a maker that makes replicas of the hardware that is used on the helmet itself. I remember me reassembling this and putting all those little screws in, and then I put a little fastener on the backside. Well, these are replicas of that, or I don't know if they're off-the-shelf components or what, but we have enough. Got a whole baggie full of them. There's actually 3 full sets. I think they come 6 per set, so we've got 18 to do, you know, all along here. So I'm thinking probably, you know, 3, maybe 4 here, and then probably 5 there and 1 there. We're probably going to have a couple left over I don't see us using every single one, but we definitely need at least 3 sets. Okay, I think I'm prepared here. I've got the acrylic cement, my rivets, got an acid brush for the acrylic cement, got an X-Acto blade just in case I need it. I got a couple speed clamps, got my pop rivet gun, and then the parts I'm gluing, and my drill. It's always good to kind of think through the process and lay everything out, so I just want to have everything there in hand, because you kind of need to work a little quick with this stuff. You got 5 to 6 minutes, and I have to do basically this whole thing. You know, I'm going to set the first pop rivet, clamp the other side, and be gluing, you know, all the way down, and then I got a pop rivet on this end and both ends, and then come back and pop rivet the, you know, and drill the other side. So it's, you got to move kind of quick. So I do also have my magnets. Ooh, magnets. I can use help use the magnets to help keep it clamped together. Alright, well that was really stressful. You gotta work really fast and do a lot of different things, you know, drilling and then gluing and then pop riveting and then clamping and putting magnets on, and it feels pretty solid though. No noticeable large gaps or anything like that. It's pretty well lined up. So it's one solid piece now. I could probably take the magnets off, but I'm gonna leave them on for a minute. Yeah, this was interesting. Actually, one thing I want to look at, where did the top block go? I just worry about these rivets sticking out. Aha. So that's pretty well. Oh yeah, we got tons of room here. So if I push it all the way in, it's totally covered. Even if I pull it out the amount of the gap, it's still covered. So we got all the way to there before we start peeking out those things. And I can always paint these rivets white to hide them. not a huge deal. So, look at that. All right, one more thing I want to talk about is this acrylic set, or this it's IPS Corporation 16 facet clear medium bodied solvent cement. This stuff also comes in a jar. Get the jar. It has like a little brush, or at least if it doesn't have a brush, you can get an acid brush. You know, whatever. Trying to use this and like hold everything at the same time, like, and it wanted to dry on the tip, and so it wasn't coming out, and so I'd squeeze it real hard and it wouldn't come out, and then I'd have to, like, you know, hit it on something real quick to get it to come out, and then it really start coming out. Don't do this. Get the jar. Save yourself a headache. I didn't know that. This is the first time I put together any sort of X-Wing helmet, so useful information for anybody who's looking to glue or use this cement and build something like anything like this. It could be Stormtrooper armor, it could be a helmet of some sort, whatever. The jar is a little bit easier to work with, I think. Alright guys, I'm going to cut it off here for this video. I feel like I've got a lot of footage. This is probably going to be a long video. The reason why I'm going to cut it off here and not put this on is because I think the next step is actually... Ooh, quick hands! Is actually going to be to drill the holes for the screws to go in here. And also in the ram's horn and the base shell here. I want to get those holes drilled because I want to do that before painting of the base. But also the other part is I don't know exactly, once I screw it down, it's going to determine where that base helmet's going to be positioned and where I can actually put this block to effectively cover up everything that we want. So that's going to be a big step, I feel like, and big enough for its own video, and I have other things to do right now, so it's going to take long enough for me to edit this video. So that being said, that's going to wrap up this video. I do have affiliate links in the description. If you wouldn't mind clicking on them and buying things, that helps me out, gives me a few pennies per purchase. Doesn't cost you a thing. I'm going to be putting things like these magnets, for instance, the acrylic cement, and I'll even put the one with the jar. That way you don't have the hassle of the tube. Because I have a jar one, but it's the thinner kind. It's more for working with like hard acrylic, like sheets. Do I have any around here? Yeah, right here. So like this is acrylic sheet. It still has the paper backing on it, but if you're trying to get that stuck together with another piece, that's what you'd use the thin, because it would have a capillary action and pull into the joint. Whereas the thick doesn't move. The brushes, etc. Anyways, also check out the blog propchopshop.com. I'll have a link in the description for that as well. Right now, I've been keeping up with the blog. There's a blog post for this, which I will link in there, and it is actually ahead of the videos. It has been. So I'm trying to make a conscious effort to actually do things with the blog, not just you know, post videos on it after, like, way after the fact I'm done with the project. Anyway, this has been pretty cool. This is very stressful to put together, and I do recommend watching Darth Hare's videos on how to do it if you get one of his helmets. He's obviously very well practiced, and he knows the best way to do it. So he's made assembly videos that are pretty good, they're pretty thorough, and it helped me, even though I'm kind of doing a bastardization of his kit. It was very helpful. So anyways, I'll see you guys in the next video. Later.